Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin expected to get a full week of practice? How do injuries affect the Commanders' plans at the trade deadline? And stick around until the end of this video for a shocking stat about Jordan Magee. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we are here to discuss the latest updates coming out of Ashburn, Virginia, plus the aforementioned Jordan Magee phenomenon that has not really hit mass consciousness yet, but is something I'm here to share with you guys. Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining me wherever you are on this beautiful day. Don't know what the weather's like where you are. Looking out my window right now, the sun is in the sky. It's about 11 in the morning. It's going to be a great day today. I know that we're all frustrated by what's going on with the defense, the record, the injuries, and all that stuff, but it doesn't mean that we can't have a great day and have a great show here. Guys, if you are joining me, make sure you hit the like button if you have not already. And if you are new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button. We got videos coming out every single day. Sometimes, believe yesterday, it's hard for me to keep track of the days now. Believe yesterday was one of those multi-video days. So make sure you check those out if you missed them as well. So let's start off with your injury update, because the Washington Commanders in 2025 should be sponsored by a local hospital. I feel like half the videos I make are discussing injuries, and these aren't small timers. We know that these are big ones as well. So I'm sure most of you know this by now, but Jayden Daniels was ruled out of any Chiefs, of any competition against the Chiefs on Wednesday. That report did come out from actual reporters. It wasn't a note from the team. They didn't quite get ahead of it the way that they have before. So I'm not sure what this means in this context, although I can take some confidence in the fact that because those reports say it's a mild strain, not expected to miss a bunch of time, just a slight issue with his hamstring, I can take comfort in the fact that because the report said that it was information that was leaked, not the team saying it, I can probably trust those reports more. With the team, heck, Jayden could have had his leg chopped off, and they would have said, yeah, we're working through some stuff. We'll see how he hits the markers. Laramie Tunsil's spine could be popping out of his back, and they say, well, you know, he's such a competitor. He's going to fight to get back. The fact this was a separate thing does make me more inclined to believe, okay, this is really a mild hamstring strain, out for the Chiefs game. Maybe he's back for the Seahawks. Not confirming that, just my thoughts on the matter. Deebo and Terry are expected to have full weeks of practice this week. I would expect Deebo to play on Monday. Almost said Sunday. Expect Deebo to play on Monday. I was actually surprised he didn't play last Sunday. I get it. I'm not doubting the validity of his injury, but from just hearing some of the reports, hearing the things he had said, the coaching staff said, kind of sound like he would play, not practice. Lo and behold, gets ruled out of Sunday. I expect him to be back on Monday. The Terry thing, no idea what's going to happen there. In my personal opinion, look, I want Terry on the field just as bad as anybody, not even because I think we have a great chance to win on Monday, but just because when you sign that sort of contract and everything has gone wrong the way it has, I want to see you at least repay it with some sweat equity. If Terry's only 90%, I'll be honest, no point in sending him out there. Don't send him out there just to get re-injured. That does no good. If he's truly 100% with Mariota, yes, get him on the field. He needs reps. He needs game sharpness, game speed. But if he's not, you're just increasing his chance of re-aggravating it. Now he gets hurt again. Either he misses some more time. He's not his full self when Jayden gets back. And above all else, you're reducing his possible trade value in the offseason. So again, we're frustrated with Terry, but rushing him back to the field does nobody any good. But he's expected to get a full week of practice. I'm sure when DQ gives his press conference later today, he will give confirmation of that, or maybe he'll change it at the last second, just like he did last Thursday. I don't know. Point being, that is your update. Terry and Deebo expected to be back at practice. So the Commanders have been tossed around as a team that could make sense to be a buyer at the trade deadline at the edge position and wide receiver position. And obviously that makes sense. We talk about the injuries the Commanders have endured, and yes, there are a lot of them. Jayden obviously being one of them. John Bates missed some time. Sam Cosmi was working back. Will Harris broke his fibula. But it seems like the positions that have been hit the most by these injuries are receiver and are edge. If you look at this, look at the Cowboys game after Dorrance Armstrong left, the top three receivers and three of the top edge rushers were all out. Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Deebo Samuel, Dietrich Wise, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, and Dorrance Armstrong. So those are big positions on the field. They're not nothing positions you can just work around. And so it would make sense for the team to be in position to buy at those spots. With that being said, some NFL insiders have kind of poured cold water on that because of the Commanders' record and because of Jayden Daniels' current health. Again, still lots of rumors floating around. We've been linked to different receivers. The Dolphins, by the way, said that they have no plans to trade Jalen Waddle, so you can probably strike him out of anything. But there are some other guys out there on the open market. We've talked about Reek Woolen a lot. I'll add another name here, Cam Taylor-Britt from the Bengals. Now, it's not a great sign that he was benched by the Bengals considering how terrible their defense is, but I'm not going to act as if Taylor-Britt isn't somebody who does have talent, does have potential. He's been a solid starter at times in his career, only 26 years old, 5'11", 200 pounds. He was a second-round pick coming out of college. He's also going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So you can enter these negotiations with the Bengals and kind of hold their feet to the fire and say, look, you've benched him. He's not playing for you. Would probably indicate you're not going to re-sign him this upcoming offseason. He's out of contract in 2 months. Why not just accept this 7th-round pick for him? Maybe it's a 6th-round pick. And to be clear, I wouldn't go above that. But you might be able to get to the Bengals on the cheap, and a lot of people out there would say, oh, we're giving up another draft pick. Well, it's giving up a 7th for a 2nd-round pick who was 26 years old, and we have seen be a legitimate starter in the NFL. By the way, if you remember the name Cam Taylor-Britt, you're probably remembering it because he's the one who called Cliff Kingsbury's offense a college offense before the Commanders beat the Bengals Monday Night Football in Week 3 last year. But all that said, Taylor-Britt, for the right price, would be someone that I would be interested in, although the Bengals are notoriously terrible to deal with because they are a very poorly run franchise. And you can never underestimate the ability of dumb franchises to make dumb decisions. But just wanted to throw that name out there because it's not one that I have mentioned yet on this channel. So I want to transition here and I want to talk about the defense. I was looking at a chart earlier today, which should be on the screen by now. If it's not, I'll pop it up here. I was looking at this chart and it represented the total touchdowns scored by teams in the NFL. And looking at this chart, the Commanders aren't quite at the top. And shout out to the Colts, man. The Colts averaging the highest points per possession this century. I have no idea if they are just on a magic carpet ride or what, but with every passing week, they look better and better. But I was looking for the Commanders, and yes, they're not at the top, but they are in that top 10 mark. They're tied with the Rams at 8th. And then I was looking at the records of all the teams that are up there with the Commanders. They're up there at the top, or they're, in the Rams case, they're tied. And I just wanted to run you through them. So the Colts are 6-1, the Lions are 5-2, Patriots are 5-2, Eagles are 5-2, Rams are 5-2, Seahawks are 5-2, Chiefs are 4-3, the Cowboys are 3-1, and then it's the Commanders at 3-4. The worst record there, the only team with a losing record there, one of only 2 teams that do not have a winning record there. Again, they've still scored the 8th most touchdowns in the NFL, and we can slice this however we want. We can assign blame to different players. We can talk about scheme with Joe Witt Jr. We can say it's Dan Quinn's fault. We can go wherever we want with this. But the point is, it's a team effort. Players, coaches, everybody is involved in this. And when I talk about the Commanders coaching staff, I talk about them being principle-driven people. Their standards are things like culture, togetherness, intensity, effort, things like that. One of DQ's favorite pillars of what he wants his team to be about is complementary football. Well, this graph is a representation of complementary football not existing with this team. We know the Commanders have a good offense. We think they're underperforming because we saw what they did last year, and we, in some ways, know they're underperforming. There's been changes on the offensive line. There have been numerous injuries. Jayden's been in and out. You've got a 7th-round rookie running back as your start. We know the team is underperforming. They're still up there ranking like that with the best offenses in the NFL, but it's the defense that has doomed them. And when we look back at some of these games, we can think about the Bears game, and Jayden plays a role in that for fumbling, obviously throwing a pick in the red zone, but defense didn't really come up with timely stops. Some of the other losses, the Falcons, you give up 34 points and a career high in passing yards to Michael Penix Jr. This Cowboys game, whether it's giving up the touchdown drive in the first 2 minutes, whether it's allowing the touchdown drive in the final 40 seconds before halftime, things like that, defense just can't get a stop. This graph that you all saw is a perfect embodiment of the lack of complementary football that is on this team. So again, looking at some of those recent results, Commanders could easily be 5-2 right now. Seriously. And we could be looking at where we're at with Jayden's injury and saying, dude, don't rush back, because when you do get here, we've built up enough ground. We've got enough of a cushion that we can go on this playoff push when you get back. Because the record is where it is, that's where you get these conversations about, should the Commanders be extra cautious with Jayden and hold him out for longer? Should they shut him down for this season? Things like that. If this record was 5-2, wouldn't look anything like that. And a 5-2 record should not have been unattainable. It's a long way off the 3-4 we're at right now. But in all honesty, the defense was just average, made some plays like every defense in the NFL does, the season would look a lot different right now, is where I'm saying. So one player that has been floated around as a potential solution to the issues plaguing the defense is one Jordan Magee, a guy that I'm a really big fan of, despite having barely seen him on an NFL field, because let's be honest, the Commanders coaching staff doesn't really seem to be that inclined to put him out there for much. They haven't at any point in his career. Now, we did see more and more of it last week in that loss to the Cowboys. That was primarily influenced by A, the Commanders going with a little bit more 4-3, and B, when Dorrance Armstrong went out, Frankie Louvu took over at the edge rusher position. I did a full breakdown on this, but Frankie Louvu logged 59 defensive snaps against the Cowboys, 29 at edge, 30 in the box. Basically a 50-50 split between edge rusher and linebacker. So when Louvu was lined up at the edge, you saw Jordan Magee join Bobby as those linebackers in the middle of the field. And I went through the numbers just this morning. I went back, I looked, and I only looked at plays where Jordan Magee was on the field. Looked at the numbers, watched back the all 22 from a couple of times, from the sideline angle, from the end zone angle. And I gotta say, man, I was really impressed with what I saw, and I have been impressed with Magee. He's flashed when he's gotten opportunities. We've seen him in goal line packages. I can remember him stuffing, I think it might have been Amari and Hampton for a 3-yard loss. I think it was the Chargers game. I don't know if it was Hampton that was the back, but it was in that game. You've seen him generate pressure on quarterbacks. You've seen him fly to the ball, make some open field tackles. And so I was looking at the plays he participated in against the Cowboys. And did you guys know, matter of fact, let me just pull up the Cowboys stats from that game. Give me just one sec, because I want to make sure that I have everything in front of me. So the Cowboys in the game against the Commanders, they averaged 4.9 yards per carry. Javonte Williams averaged 6.1. They carried the ball 31 times for 152 yards. In the plays in which Jordan Magee was on the field, the Cowboys only averaged 2.3 yards per carry. Now, that includes garbage time, so you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I'm sure it's probably more at the 4-5 range, and then when they became predictable, the Commanders just stuffed the box and shut them down. It's actually the opposite, believe it or not. Jordan Magee was on the field for 7 running plays, not in garbage time. The Cowboys on those plays averaged 0.9 yards per carry. And I discounted an aborted snap where Dak mishandled it and went down to protect the fumble. Didn't count that in these numbers. So Jordan Magee, and Magee, by the way, was in on several of these tackles, doing a very nice job, getting to his gap, reading the holes. He had some open field tackles, which were very impressive. Not driving the narrative and pointing this out to you guys. I'm simply telling you what the numbers said. Again, the Cowboys averaged 4.9 yards per carry. They averaged 2.3 with Magee on the field, 0.9 with Magee on the field outside of garbage time. And that difference also wasn't just reflected with the run plays. It was also with the passing plays. Dak Prescott in this game, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, an average or a yards per attempt average of 8.8. With Jordan Magee on the field, Dak's yards per attempt fell to 2.5. Now, Magee didn't get any pass deflections or anything like that. He didn't really do anything special in coverage. His speed just allowed him to move around the field. He was in the right spots. There was a swing pass, I want to say, to Jaden Blue, where he made a very nice tackle. And then he got out on another player on the opposite side of the field. I wish I could remember who it was, but someone else caught the ball, and Magee flies out there sideline to sideline, and I think it was a 5-yard gain. But his speed allowed them to track them down. And I've said it so many times now at this point, and it's frustrating for me because I don't know that this is the solution. I can't guarantee that it is. But every time I see Jordan Magee, when I see numbers like this, it's hard for me to draw a conclusion other than Jordan Magee getting speed on the field can make a positive impact on this defense. If you guys really want me to, I can go back and I can look at every single run and every single pass that Jordan Magee was on the field for this season, and I can give you a bigger sample size than just one game against the Cowboys. If you guys are interested in that, then make sure you do leave a like on this video, because that's going to take some time for me to do. And liking the video is a sign of support, helps me grow, helps the channel grow, helps the video get out there. So do that. And also just leave a comment, say, yes, that's what you want to see, on top of any of your other thoughts from this video. What do you think the Commanders are doing at the trade deadline? Do you like Cam Taylor-Britt as a potential target? Thoughts on Terry? Thoughts on Jordan Magee? Literally anything, go to the comment section below. I'll be reading and responding to as many as I possibly can. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. Appreciate you joining me. As I always say, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.